Well, welcome back to Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin here at our Restoration Nation. Today we're back in Natchez, Mississippi, and we have an incredible treat for you. This is by far our favorite completed Natchez mansion. Richmond is unique not only to Natchez, but really to the entire Southeast for one very specific reason, and that is that in one home, we have 3 distinct build periods. Now, that's not really that unusual on the surface of it because many of the homes were built and then added on to over time. But only in Richmond can you approach the house and see physically the 18th century, the early 19th century, and the mid-19th century. So we're so excited to give you a look inside 3 distinct build periods from Natchez early history. We're so excited that a descendant of the original builder, Jean is going to take us on a room-by-room tour of not only her family home, but all of its beautiful bits and bobs that are included. This home has absolutely magnificent history. So I'm going to be tagging behind out of sight. Join us as Jean takes us on a tour of her incredible family home.
Guys, you know I love my tools and I love technology, and I can't wait to show you my new toy. This is the Philips 5000 series Smart Lock.
I have now upgraded our keyless entry pad to this 5000 series Smart Lock. The installation was really easy, but let me tell you why I made the change. With 5000 series Smart Lock, you're always in control. Remotely unlock for family or guests with just a tap.
Simplify your life with the 5000 series Smart Lock. You're going to get remote access, you're going to get real-time updates, and you're going to get total peace of mind.
There are literally 4 different ways that you can use this lock, and that's what I love about it. You can use a key like any other door. You can use the keypad. Here's where it gets really exciting. You can use your palm. So you can say goodbye to lost keys and unreliable fingerprint sensors. The 5000 series Smart Lock's palm vein recognition is 99% accurate, and it's impossible to replicate. And then lastly, and I may love this even more, you can control it from an app and open and close it from wherever you are in the world. Check out Philips Black Friday deals. Save up to 37% off. Details in my description box.
Hi, I'm Jean, and my great-great-grandfather was Levin Marshall, and he was the gentleman who purchased this house in 1830. The person who actually built the house was by a gentleman by the name of Juan St. Germaine. He was a translator between the Spanish and the Indians that lived in the area. And it was that translation work that actually helped him get the land grant on which to build Richmond. This part of the house was built in 1784. It is a raised cottage style. The floors in the house are made of cypress. They are the original floors. In the case that's right to the left of the door are some Indian arrowheads and artifacts that were found right here on the place by members of my mother's generation. Of course, instead of television on Sunday afternoons or Saturday afternoons, they would walk around the property and see what they could find, and that's what they found. The blue piece on the table is a water cooler. It was imported probably from Japan. The scene on it is an English country home. In the cabinet behind me, you see some fans. These were all collected by one of my grandmothers and just passed down through the generations. Other items in the case were actually just found right here and collected when pilgrimage started in the 1930s. Well, they just needed interesting things to show everybody, so they brought it all together. This piece of equipment is called a rope runner, and that was used for making rope that was used on the plantation. There were spokes that came from the center wheel, and there was a rim around that, and then it worked somewhat like a spinning wheel. There was a paddle that actually went with this, and they would thread fibers through the holes, and the more holes they filled, the thicker and stronger the rope would have been. We're now in the dining room, and still you're in the original portion of the house, which dates to 1784. And on this sideboard, you'll see a picture of my aunt. We always called her Pedote. Everybody had to have a nickname, right? So this is a picture of her back in the 1930s, back when she was a member of the garden club, and we served tea and coffee. It's more like a reception, but it was during tour, and this is a picture of her sitting at this table, and she's using this coffee service to serve the guest. Levin Marshall was my ancestor who actually did purchase the property and made the additions to the house. Levin Marshall was born in Maryland, but grew up in New York. He had many ties there because he lived there for a good length of time. But when he was the age of majority, which I would say was probably 18 back then, he came down the Mississippi River trying to find something that he would be able to do to make money. He was the youngest child. He knew he would not inherit much of anything. So he went to Woodville and got into banking, and it was banking that brought him to Natchez. Now, while he was in Natchez, of course, he was a banker. He had part interest in a hotel and part interest in a cotton brokerage firm. So he was a man of all trades. Part of his desire to have Richmond was because it would be easily added onto. He needed that much space because he had clients and customers, and he wanted to entertain. So he added the Greek Revival portion of the house. He did that as soon as he actually purchased the house. In this room, you'll see some influences that relate to the Greek Revival architecture. You'll notice the pilasters here. Of course, these are made of cypress and stained to look like oak. They had a special tool that they used to do all of these grooves, special saw. And these doors are bifold. You can close these rooms off, or there are enough leaves of this dining room table to extend the full length of these two rooms. So it was a massive table that was used when they were entertaining. It was not used on an everyday basis. The mantelpieces in both, well, in the whole house, but especially in these two dining rooms, were originally have been wooden. Of course, when the Greek Revival renovation happened, these were changed to Italian marble. And you'll notice that type of mantelpiece throughout the house. We're now in the Greek Revival addition to the house. Dates to around 1830, right after Levin Marshall purchased this house. You'll notice the staircase that goes to the third floor actually, and you can just imagine people coming into Richmond for a grand party and seeing people they know. It's just part of everyday life. When you come into the front entrance to Richmond, just on your right is a parlor. The furniture dates to the 1800s and mid-1800s. This piano is very special because it was used to accompany Jenny Lind, the Swedish Nightingale, when she gave her concert in Natchez. The weather was really bad. They couldn't get her piano up the bluff, so Levin Marshall had this piano taken to the Methodist church in town. That's where she gave her concert. She sang religious songs as well as opera and just popular tunes of the day. So it was quite an event. When you read the newspaper articles, it's very interesting. One day, this was after tour, my aunts were closing up the house, closing the shutters and whatnot. And all of a sudden I heard my Aunt Catherine just slam the top down to this piano. We said, "Well, what's wrong, Catherine?" She said, "Somebody took some ivory off the keys." Well, we don't know whether they did or not, because when she slammed the top down, it locked. And we don't have a key. At this point, we are in another parlor. Still, you're in the Greek Revival part of the house. And in here you have some portraits of Levin Marshall and his second wife, Sarah Elliott Ross. His first wife was Maria Chotard. She was the stepmother to George Marshall, who actually built Lansdowne, another one of the homes here in Natchez. Of course, there's this gorgeous staircase, and very seldom does it get used. We just do not let guests, family even, go upstairs. If you want to see a ghosting, just go upstairs and my mother will take care of it for you. We're now on the opposite side of the hall from the parlors. We're really not sure what these rooms were used for, but for many generations they've been used as bedrooms. My grandmother had 10 children, and so space was at a premium, even using the third floor and the second floor. She needed the bedrooms, so there you go. So now we're still in the original portion of the house, the 1784 portion. This room has always been used as a bedroom. You'll see several different types of beds in here. The trundle bed in the corner does not actually go with this particular bed, but it is a trundle bed that would fit underneath a larger bed. At this point, we're in the 1850s addition to Richmond. And in this room, you will notice a lot of bathtubs. These were all found up on third floor, where we have pretty much turned that into attic space. But these bathtubs would have been used at one point. This early American shower dates to around 1850. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. The water was pumped up using this pump. It's pumped to the top of the shower. You would soap up, and then there was a lever you could pull the lever, and that soap would be washed off of you. It was declared a public health hazard by the U.S. government. The reason for that being that no matter how many people you were bathing, they all used the same water. So wouldn't you hate to be the last person, whether it was mom and dad or the youngest child? We don't know, but I can imagine it. One of the most interesting is what we always called the mint julep tub. It was a sobering tub. Well, we were always told when the men came home and had too much to drink. That tub was filled with cold water, and they were put in there to sober up. It is designed so that if the men went to sleep, or passed out, whatever, they couldn't drown. They couldn't go under the water, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed your tour. We've been on pilgrimage since the 1930s, when pilgrimage started. We've been on almost every year, except for during World War II when they didn't have pilgrimage. But we'll be open spring, so please come visit. We'd be glad to see you.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed your visit to Richmond as much as we enjoy our visits to Richmond. Since we came to Natchez, again, this has been one of the homes with which we have been the most fascinated, entranced, and enthralled. And we're so grateful for Layla John for welcoming us into her home today. Now, today you only got a little taste of the history of the beautiful property and all of the incredible artifacts that can be found inside. To get the full history, to get the full tour, to get the whole look at the three-period history of this incredible home, you need to join us for Spring Pilgrimage. Spring Pilgrimage this year is going to be March 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th, and then again on April 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. 2 weekends only. It is a limited time pilgrimage this year, and tickets will be limited. So you're going to want to book your room and buy your tickets online soon, because then you can come and see not only a dozen other incredible homes here in Natchez, Mississippi, but you can get the full behind the scenes tour of incredible Richmond. We can't wait to see you in Natchez this spring when the flowers are blooming and the homes are open for tour. Thank you for joining us on Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin, and we'll see you next time.